Hello, it's Rebecca here from Precious Pages Papercraft, and today I'm designing a layout for Papermaze. And this month I've been working with the Simple Vintage Indigo Garden collection from Simple Stories, and it's my second layout that I've made for Papermaze with it this month, and I'm absolutely loving it. It's just such a beautiful collection and really inspiring. I haven't had to really sit down and think what I want to do with it. I've just kind of sat at my desk and just ideas have just flooded my head. So it's been a real pleasure to work with. I've really enjoyed this one, and luckily I've got loads of it left, so it definitely won't be the last layout I make with it. So I'm starting this layout with a piece of the Beautiful Hearts patterned paper. I love that pink gingham pattern, and I've cut a strip that is just shy of 5 inches wide, and then I've torn the top and bottom sections just for a bit of texture, a bit of interest. I didn't want it cut square, and I love the angle of torn papers, so I've done that. And then I wanted a darker patterned paper behind it, and actually the reverse of this paper was perfect, and it matches my photo really well with the dark blues and the pinks. So rather than cutting into another sheet of it and having a whole rectangle sat behind that gingham paper, I simply just turned over the 2 bits I'd torn off and slotted them under, making sure I lined them up with the lines on that pink gingham pattern. And you'd never know that it wasn't a complete sheet. The only bits you're going to see are either side. There is no point wasting a whole sort of rectangle of paper. So that's worked really well. And I've just taped those in place on the back. Then with my photo, I've added a layer of white cardstock behind it. I always do this with my photos. I just like to have that white border so that it's kind of clear that this is my photo and it's separated from the background. And then I've added a sheet of navy basil cardstock behind that. That's from the Basics 12x12 kit on the Papermaze website as well. And I love the navy because it just ties in with this collection perfectly, and it gives a bit of contrast with the navy, and that pink gingham paper just really helps that stand out. And then I'm going to sit my photo up on some foam and have that central to that pink gingham strip. And that's really the kind of backbones of this layout done, and it comes together super quick. It's just this collection, just ideas flood your head, and everything matches so beautifully in it that you're really spoilt for choice with what to add on. So I've got both the die cut packs, the floral bits and pieces and the bits and pieces. So I've got one laid out either side of my layout here, and I'm using one of the foam stickers again for my title. So I'm going with Bloom this time because I love that navy. This ties in with the pops of navy that I'm going to be bringing in. And I've placed that underneath my photo, but over to the left. So I know that I want to embellish with some florals going diagonally through my photo. So I knew those were going to hang down on the bottom right there, which is why I decided to move my title over to the left. And now I'm just pulling out some random florals that match the colours in my photo and the paper. So I've got pinks and there's some lilacs and purples, or like indigos I suppose. And I'm just having this going diagonally through my photo. And I wanted some leaves as well. There's loads of foliage in this bouquet that my little boy is holding. I'll let you into a secret, actually. That bouquet is not real. Those are all artificial flowers. My friend makes bouquets for a living. I'll actually pop her website down in the description box below if anyone wants to take a look. They look so stunning and realistic, and they just match this collection perfectly, and the colours were just spot on. So I've got a photo of my little boy holding those, and I've pulled out the colours from those in those floral die cuts. Got the leaves cut out as well. There was some die cuts that had birds on, and I didn't think I'd ever really want the birds, so I've just snipped the leafy bits on and tucked those in as well. And now I'm going through the bits and pieces pack over on the right there. There's sort of less florals in this and more kind of tabs and hearts and a couple of titles and bits and pieces. So I've pulled out a couple of, they're like almost little like torn notepad pages. Got a navy one on the left that says Delight in Life, and a pink one over on the right that says Sweet Life. So I'm going to fold those in half and get those stuck down with some foam pads behind them. It's a bit similar to what I did on my last layout for Papermaze, but I just couldn't be bothered to get my sewing machine out and stitch through this time. So I've just folded them in half with some foam pads underneath. There's also a couple of little tabs with sort of bulldog clips I've popped to the top left of my photo. You can just see I'm just about to cover them up. They have got words written on them, but I wasn't too fussed about having the words visible on this one. It was more the clips I wanted. So I've tucked those under and overlapped them for a bit more interest, and then you can just see the coloured clips that match obviously my colour scheme. And I've done my usual trick of putting everything down on the page and building the layout up, and nothing is stuck down. So I'm now having to carefully go all the way around trying to stick things down without moving them too much, because I'm really happy with the placement of everything. So I'm just using foam pads to get these bits stuck down, and then the idea is I'll be able to turn the whole thing over as one piece and nothing should fall off, and I can pop some double-sided tape behind those pattern papers and get that stuck down to the centre of my page. I've got a couple of butterfly die cuts as well I want to use on this layout, and I'm a sucker for butterflies. They were in the Simple Vintage Weathered Garden collection as well, and I just love butterflies. They're just the perfect little embellishment and they work with everything. But I didn't want the white borders on them. I don't know why, because all the florals I've used have got white borders on them. My photo's got a white frame around it, but for some reason they just didn't look right for me with that white border, so I've trimmed that off on this layout. And then as usual, I'm just sticking the bodies of the butterflies down so the wings will be free. I can fold those up a bit to create some dimension and make them look a bit more realistic. So I'm just faffing about with a few last bits, trying to get this little leaf sprig on somewhere, but I couldn't really find a place for it. And then I'm going to get that piece stuck in place. So like I said, everything is stuck to that now, so I've turned it over. Those leaves are obviously stuck to my background, so they help me line this back up so I know where to place it. Just added some double-sided tape to the back, and then I've got that in place. And what I actually do off camera is just with my fingers I curl the edges of those leaves and florals up just to bring in a bit more dimension. And I'm really unhappy with the top section above my photo. It just looks a bit bare and it needs something there. So I pull out the banner sticker sheet and the combo stickers sheets, and I'm just taking some time, or a lot of time, just have a look and just see if there's anything I can place at the top there. And I tried this circular piece, but it didn't really look right. I tried one of these kind of old-fashioned banners, but didn't like that either. And in the end I settled for a little heart sticker from the combo sticker sheet. And actually off camera I remember I've got the decorative brads for this collection as well, and I end up pulling off one of the chipboard pieces from that and placing it up there with those two hearts above it. So you can still see that pink gingham paper through it, but I just felt like it needed something to balance out because I've got that large title at the bottom. So you'll see that in the close-ups at the end. And then I'm just finishing off with some Nouveau drops in coordinating colours. So I've got a crystal drops in Midnight Blue and another one in Rhubarb Crumble, which is that lovely sort of magenta pink colour. I'm just doing 3 drops either side of my patterned papers there, and that is me finished. So I hope you've enjoyed this layout and the process, and it's given you some inspiration in using this collection. It's already available on the Papermaze website, so I will pop a link down in the description box below for you. I'll also include a link to the Papermaze blog so you can find direct links to all the products I've used. And like I mentioned earlier, I'll also pop a link down to my friend's artificial floral shop as well. She makes the most beautiful flowers, and the bouquet I've got just works stunningly with this collection, so super pleased with that. But thanks again for joining me. I'll leave you with the last few close-ups and I'll see you next time.